Congratulations on your re-election, by the way.
Thank you. I'm so glad that it's over and it was successful.
I bet. I can't imagine. Hi, Councilwoman Dorsey. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. It's nice to see you.
It's good to be here for a change.
Vice Chair, we'll give it a couple more minutes. This is an odd time for this meeting, and even though we've sent out several reminders, I think folks might just be running a little behind.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Councilmember Condi. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Apologies for the delay. We are too shy of quorum, and I know that Chair Stewart is coming. We spoke with him earlier today, so we'll just give it another minute or two if you don't mind. There's Chair Stewart.
Everybody.
Hi, Chair. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, I had a heck of a time getting in, but that was probably more of a user interface problem with the chair and the computer in front of me. So I don't think it was anything to do with y'all.
Chair, we are one shy of quorum. I'll let you know when we have quorum. It should be any second. We know we do have several other members joining us.
Fantastic. How's everybody doing?
Thank you.
Good. Hopefully everybody had a great turkey day. And everybody's got their Christmas shopping done, right?
Yeah, sure.
I do.
It looks like you grew something over the holiday. Did you have all this going on? I don't know. You look different.
Oh, did I have this going on? Yeah, this is new. This is we have our police department gets to wear a beard from November through December, and they have to donate like $2 a day to a charity or something like that to do it. And so some of council members take part in it, and some of the other staff members take part in it in the No Shave November for charity. So yeah. Hey, Pastor Mike.
Yes, Mark.
Going on, brother?
Aloha from Hawaii, man.
Man, I'm jealous.
No, don't be. You were just in the islands not too long ago.
That's
so.
true. That's true. I had my visit. So good stuff.
Okay, Chair, we now have quorum. Thank you.
Well, fantastic. I just ran out of another meeting into this one. So I just getting caught up here. Excuse my pulling the gum out here. But hey, thanks for everybody jumping on here. We really appreciate it. And you know, I know we're kind of flexing back and forth between virtual and in person, and we'll continue to do that throughout 2023 as well. But as we move into the holidays, we're going to kind of get jumped on here and get moving. So let's go ahead and call the order. Let's take roll and get moving here, Kelly. Does that sound good?
Yes, Chair. I'd be happy to take.
Super.
I'd be happy to take roll. Vice Mayor Jen Duff.
Yes.
Councilmember Wally Campbell. Vice Mayor Ali Klein. Here. Thank you. Councilmember Tina Condi.
Here.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Monica Dorsey.
Here.
Thank you. Supervisor Steve Gallardo. Councilmember Betty Janik. Councilmember Joel Navarro.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Bill Patana. Rachel Sanders.
Here.
Thank you. And Councilmember Amy Yentes. Chair Stewart.
I am present.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Okay, Chair and Co-Chair, you have quorum. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. And thanks everybody for joining. Hey, we are in item number 2 on our tentative agenda for December 6th, which is a call to audience. If we have any cards or anything that we need to address, Kelly? Anybody?
Chair, we did not have any comments on any of the agenda items for today.
All right. Well, with that being said, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of our last September 15th meeting minutes. I'll take a motion from the floor to approve those.
So moved.
We have a motion from Joel. Councilmember Navarro. And did we get a second?
Second from Vice Mayor Duff.
Okay, and a second from Vice Mayor Duff, Vice Chair Duff.
Vice Chair.
And so with that motion and second, do we have any dissenting votes? Okay, motion passes through affirmation. And that'll take us to item number 4. So this is a discussion about social services block grant funding, the allocation recommendations. So our MAG, Human Services Technical Committee, develops an annual allocation recommendations based on these social services block grant dollars on behalf of the Department of Economic Security for Arizona. The recommendations are based on prioritization of human services related needs in the areas of adults, families, and children, developmental disabilities, older adults, and people with disabilities. Jacqueline Edwards, our HSTC chair, will present the SSBG recommendations for our approval and then to be forwarded on to the larger committee. Jennifer, would you like to take it away? I'm sorry, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much, Chair
It's
Stewart.
new glasses.
No, you're
You're
good.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair Stewart, and members of this committee. I really appreciate your time today for us to go through the what the Human Services Technical Committee has spent multiple meetings discussing to ensure that we do have a solid recommendation to bring forth to this committee here. So some of the things in the matter of our multiple discussions that we really reviewed was the basic needs in our community. I use that sort of broadly. So food and shelter and those agencies that do provide services to those who are who are experiencing adversity or really the most vulnerable in our community. And we also really discussed and considered the other fund sources that are available to agencies for these activities, and where the social service block grant funding and the piece that we're responsible for making a recommendation on could have the greatest impact here in Maricopa County, throughout all of our individual jurisdictions, impacting all of our residents. So with that premise there, we had made some significant shifts in how we're recommending our allocations. So that first shift, as you see here on this slide in front of you, is in the 2 major categories of case management and the supportive intervention and guidance counseling, to remove funding that we had previously allocated in those categories and shift them to other areas that we know have a much more significant need. The other thing is that we know there is a substantial amount of state general funds along with state funding that is received from the federal government in the form of TANF that is, so that's temporary assistance for needy families, that is shifted over to DCS for provision of services. So again, going back to our primary premise of the basic needs, so shelter and food, and that is why we really resolved to keep the funding in crisis shelter services for those children who have run away or have had some type of separation with their families for whatever reason. So that is the decisions that we made on this one. And I'm happy to take any questions throughout, or if you'd like to wait to the end as well, whatever the committee prefers, I'm happy to do. So if there's not anything at the moment, I just ask for the next slide to be shown. The next page, wonderful. So here, this is through the Division of Aging and Adult Services at the Department of Economic Security. And the majority of those funds that we had removed from the and from that first category with the Department of Child Safety, just under $80,000, we have reallocated to a number of categories here. Again, focused on the needs in our community. So you will see some differences between those seniors and then specific call outs for person with disabilities. So what happens when the funding does come in and then gets dispersed to local agencies, and is that there is flexibility when it's provided to seniors for those who are 18 years and older and may have maybe a person who have a physical disability. We also know that the other services for disabilities, and including developmental disabilities, the state has, again, very dedicated resources and through access as well to be able to provide services. However, the funding that is available and the flexible funding as social services block grant funding is very limited, and there's not a lot of actual dedicated funding for a number of these categories, including for adults, families, and children's, and specifically for our senior population who have low incomes as well. So we have put additional funds into home delivered meals. We know that there, because of other funding changes through post CARES Act and post the American Rescue Plan Act, that there will be a deficit of funding in home delivered meals throughout our community, and what we're able to support. So put just under $32,000 into that category, along with adult daycare and adult day healthcare. That is a historically underfunded service in our community. And through this, folks will be able to, again, receive some of those basic services, like receiving a meal in a congregate setting as well. So we put just under $32,000 in that category as well. The other areas, so the housing support services, both for those seniors who are experiencing homelessness, along with adults, families, and children who are experiencing homelessness in our community, making sure that there is additional funding in both of these categories so that we're able to further connect folks across the spectrum with housing support services to ensure that, you know, they're able to receive shelter, get housed, and then remain housed as well. The final category is in the case management of the basic needs services. This is a large funding, and what this really helps the community be able to do is provide that one-on-one coaching and case management services to individuals and families across our community to connect them with other services so that they can be self-supporting and able to connect them with workforce development services, with shelter services, with food supports, whatnot. So this is a really key funding source in our be able to deliver services to those who are experiencing adversity and be able to support their social and economic mobility. Then if we go on to the final slide, there are, as you can see here, there is very minimal changes in this category, and really it was to make sure that our focus was on supported employment for those people with disabilities. So rather than having, you know, very tiny amounts that an agency would have to track because these are federal funds, and it will probably cost more money to track the funding for an adaptive aid or device, you know, for less than $2,000, really making sure that it is you know, we're being fiscally prudent and putting that into the supported employment category so that people with disabilities will be able to come and really be able to connect with employers in our community in the least restrictive environment possible, and support our growing economy as well as supporting themselves and their families. So if there's that is how we've allocated the funds across the categories. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those now.
Chair Stewart, you're on mute.
Lucky for everybody that happened. No, is there any questions from the floor on this particular subject? Great presentation, Jacqueline, by the way, very thorough. And I actually had one question. So CARES Act dollars are starting to fade, right? I think there's still some residual left. Where's the makeup? Where are we picking up that delta from? Is that from state?
So for with the social services block grant funding, we did receive, the state did receive additional funds this year that we were able to increase a number of those categories. And that is based on the last appropriation of the from Congress that was then provided to the state of Arizona.
Okay.
Without outside of other services, you know, there is still a tail for the American Rescue Plan Act funds that, you know, local cities, towns, and the county, as well as the state, have received and been invested in, of course, in a number of initiatives.
All right. Well, fantastic. Anybody else have anything? Okay, great. Hey, you know, Kelly, you know, it's very important that everything we're doing here with the CBDG is communicated. You know, I think a lot of members on this call head to the National League of Cities in the spring, and we lobby Congress and our senators to make sure that we're kept whole, especially at the city level and the county level. So any information that'll be helpful to us that we can communicate to our respective cities and folks that are on this team, maybe you guys can brainstorm about what that might be in order to keep us whole into 2023, 24, et cetera. So the more people we have singing the same song when we head to Congress, the better off we are in delivering to them a story that continues to ensure our funding. So thank you.
Sure, Chair Stewart, absolutely.
Well, hey, this one is near and dear to my heart. Hold on. We actually need to take a motion to approve the Black grant funding allocations as listed by Jacqueline. Can I take a motion from the floor for that? Yes, ma'am.
Chair Stewart, we do need to do a voice vote for each individual on this one as well, please.
All right, we'll do that. Can I
So
entertain a
moved.
motion, please?
So
I've
moved.
got a motion from Monica, I believe. And can I get a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Navarro. All those in favor? You want to take a item by item voice vote? All right, you want to do the roll for me, Kelly?
Yes, please. I'll do it
Down the line.
quickly here.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Jen Duff,
Aye.
Councilmember Wally Campbell, Vice Mayor Ali Klein. Aye. Councilmember Tina Condi,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Monica Dorsey,
Aye.
Councilmember Betty Janik,
Aye.
Councilmember Joel Navarro,
Aye.
Rachel Sanders.
Aye.
Thank you, Chair. That motion passes.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. We'll move on to item number 5, and this one is near and dear to my heart. We are coming up on the 5th annual Night of Hope, and this is a recurring event that happens every year that, full disclosure, I'm a part of, proud partner with this program, and I felt it was extremely valuable for Pastor Mike Gowans to share the story behind a Night of Hope. And this year, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but this year we will have some tremendous elected officials being a part of this, as well as law enforcement and people from around the states, even athletes as a part of this event in Tempe. But the big deal here is letting Pastor Mike share what the event's mission is all about, and more importantly, how cities and folks on this call can take part and share the message. So without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Pastor Mike. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you, everyone, that all your service. I want you to just be aware, we pray for you often and pray for God's wisdom and peace and the sacrifice you make. And we appreciate you, all that you do. So thank you. It's a privilege to be here and have this opportunity to share a little bit of what's going on in February. So as Mark said, Night of Hope has been an event in the East Valley the last 4 years where we've seen over 5,000 people participate over the last 4 years for a night of bringing awareness to the evil of sex trafficking. And the journey began with my wife and I over 6 years ago when we were helping build a safe house in Nepal, where on the border of Nepal and India, where children were being kidnapped on that border into India and never to be seen again. And so we had partnered to help give resources to build this house. In that process, some friends of ours in our church pulled my wife and I aside, and we had a meeting with them, and they said, "Are you aware of the problem we have here in America?" And I was not. And over the next couple of months, we met with some detectives in our valley and became aware. And once you see something, you can't unsee it. And from there, I just, with my wife and team, just pursued, what can we do? What's our part to play? And from that came, I can rally pastors around our city, around the valley together to bring awareness to our congregations and to our communities. And that's where the Night of Hope began. And so we've had this event the last 4 years. And last year we made a declaration, not in our city, was birthed with taking this event that I believe has been very successful. We've had probably only over 40 churches in the East Valley participate, as well as many city council members and mayors and elected officials in the state, senators, Congress, men and women, and law enforcement, chief of police of both Chandler and Gilbert. A lot of people have participated, and it's we think making a difference, bringing awareness, and fighting this. And it's a terrible evil and darkness, and the stats are just compelling us to have to do something, right? And I mean, one life is too many. With the Super Bowl being hosted here in the Valley, we're very excited about being able to host the Super Bowl. But with every big event, unfortunately, it tracks even more of this evil. And so we thought making our event be around a part of the Super Bowl. So two nights before the Super Bowl, we have rented Gamage Auditorium in Tempe. Mark Stewart has already gotten the mayor of Tempe to come commit to participating there. We're very excited about that and being in his host city. We have a number of NFL football players going to be participating as well that evening. But more than just the event, we want to just support all of the organizations from our law enforcement to nonprofit organizations that are fighting this evil in many different ways. We're partnering with national organizations for this event. As you can see, the purpose of Not in Our City is to unify the community to lead the effort to end sex trafficking in the community, churches, government officials, law enforcement, frontline organizations throughout the Valley. And it's an opportunity to a call of action to mobilize the church, the government, and community with a clear purpose. One of the things, as I've been involved in this fight now for 5 or 6 years, continually hear from people that they were unaware, like I was, unaware that this was really a problem. And it's a problem. And law enforcement, we're very supportive of our law enforcement in that they're overwhelmed. They do not have the resources to take this on alone. And so they definitely are very supportive of us to help them. And we have partnered with organizations during the Super Bowl, one called Not in Our Backyard, where they're going to be using our facility for operation. They work with the FBI last year, rescuing dozens of people. I don't have the actual figures. They might be in this presentation. I just can't remember them. But if I could just put a pause on just what I think is happening, even in as we're bringing awareness. I'm here in Hawaii, and I was ministering at a church and did 3 services on Sunday. And during one of the services, I actually spontaneously just brought up the Night of Hope. And somebody who was not even at the church but was watching online is involved in an organization, national organization called Untrafficked. And so he reached out to the pastor yesterday when I was on the North Shore. And from there, they connected me with the chairman of the board of Untrafficked, and we're partnering together. They were part of the Super Bowl and operations there. And he had sent me stats where they had rescued 161 children from sex trafficking during the 2 weeks surrounding the Super Bowl. And they made hundreds of arrests. And so I'm excited that they're going to be joining us, or we're going to be joining them. Either one, we're joining together because we need everybody. We need everybody. Another story from last year: somebody who had come to the event was unaware of the problem, travels a lot. He the next month was at our airport, Phoenix Airport, saw something suspicious, got authorities, and there was somebody rescued. Somebody was being trafficked. And I mean, just, sometimes you're like, well, what does this event really do? Are we really having an impact? And the answer is yes, it's having an impact. And even, I'm sorry, if just one person gets it's enough, for me to do this event. But, dozens and dozens of people are getting rescued and helped. And so there's a plethora of frontline organizations that we support. They'll be a part of the event that night. And sometimes they feel like they're out there alone. And this event helps just say, we believe in you, we trust, we get volunteers, we give an opportunity if people want to get behind these organizations. And you can see here a catalog of frontline organizations that both in prevention, intervention, and aftercare that we partner with and this event. So one of the things, I guess, where we need your help, if you have connections and relationship, and just like yesterday's meeting, it's all about relationship. We here in Hawaii, as I'm speaking at a church, get connected to this national organization, Untrafficked, and from there now we're going to be partnering with them in this event. So one of the things here on the list is access to schools to educate and raise awareness. We're committed to bringing in top-notch, world-class communicators to partner with NFL football players who did not make it to the Super Bowl, and that would join those speakers to go into schools for free. We'll take care of the cost, but just to bring awareness to kids, to give them a heads up of what to look for. And so that would be a big deal to, if, we would just get the invitation for schools to be able to come in and do a short assembly presentation there, to talk about laws to place proper vetting out of massage and spa businesses, NGOs and government agencies to work together. This is more and more, as I really appreciate our law enforcement, in that they're honest in saying we can't do it all. We need help, and so I'm, and obviously there's limitations of how much you can help, but there is effort that really is meaningful and helpful for law enforcement. Training and educating hospitality and transportation businesses. We're working with the organization Not in Our Backyard, who's we go into all the convenience stores, and we're mobilizing hundreds of volunteers to go into convenience stores and put stickers in restrooms, on billboards, with a hotline, 800 hotline, and working also with hotel chains to educate employees and managers to what to look for, as well as it's led into like Lyft and Uber, and how to educate them. So it's a full court press, and of getting everybody, involved, and it matters, and it makes a difference. Also here to support the foster care and adoption. Unfortunately, foster care is an area, those that are in this category of they're the most trafficked. They're the biggest victims, and so they need help. I mean, we bring awareness, and through that get more healthy families to participate in fostering. And so that's and then scholarships for counselors, therapists focused on the aftercare as well. So I guess one of the asks is, if you have influence to help us make those connections with schools. This is a little bit of a timeline. We're getting dozens of churches. We're believing for over 100 churches to participate throughout the valley. We're asking the churches to have a Not in Our City Pledge Sunday, where they selfie their congregation with their hands up that they're making the pledge. There's a notinourcity.org website where you can personally take the pledge and Not in Our City, which we're hoping you can volunteer for the event. You can volunteer for a lot of other things that are going on the week before the Super Bowl and the week of the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of opportunities to volunteer. And then the other thing we're doing in December 13th, Gilbert is going to be making a proclamation in their council meeting on the December 13th. And both Mark and Mayor Kevin Harkey and Odie Harris, so we're going to be presenting that, I think, in January, but we're hoping that we'll be able to make this proclamation. This proclamation can be made in every city in the valley. So if you have the ability to help make that happen, that would be huge. That's another just, I guess, big ask is just, would you be willing to make this proclamation of Not in Our City? And we've written up with the lawyers of the city of Gilbert have drawn this paperwork up, and obviously it can be tweaked to every city. But yeah, there you go. I hope I'm not over time, and I hope I covered everything. Any questions?
This is Betty Janik. I have a question. How can we get a copy of the Not in Our City pledge? Will it be posted or maybe sent to us?
I can do that. So there is the individual pledge and business pledge and church pledge is on the website at notinourcity.org. But city proclamation, I can get that out to you. Maybe Kelly, I can have my assistant send it to you and you can disperse it.
Absolutely, Pastor Gowan.
Yeah, let's package that up with the links for everybody that's on this call. And then we'd love, and this is my personal ask, if we could all take the pledge as elected officials and leaders in our community, and then we'll get the proclamations out to you. If you can hand that off to your city manager or wherever, and see if your city would be open to taking the pledge and creating a proclamation in January. That would be fantastic. That's when Chandler's will be. Gilbert's here in the next couple of weeks, but we can really gain some momentum, and we'll continue to work on the churches and the elected officials. And if we can take this citywide and continue to raise the awareness about this tragic activity and help these young people and folks that are being trafficked, I think unified we can really make some headway on this, and I have deep hope that this will really make a difference.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Yes, this is Councilmember Condi, the city of Avondale. When is the annual Night of Hope? Are we gonna get a flyer for that?
Yes, I'll make it. So it's February the 10th. It's Friday night in Tempe at Gamage Auditorium. And there'll be a VIP moment at 5 with a lot of the elected officials and leaders will be personally invited to that. And then the event starts at 6 itself. So 6 o'clock will be the actual event, starting of the event.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pastor Gowan, I did want to share with you that we previously had the organization Rahab's Daughter come and speak, and they are also doing sex trafficking work specifically with, I don't know if they only work with homeless individuals, but they are working with homeless individuals as well. And they also shared with us about how foster children are at a much higher rate for both homelessness and sex trafficking as well. I'll be sure to share their details with you. I'm sure they would love to come and support this event too.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly.
And just one last thing I wanted just to share. This is Councilmember Condi, the city of Avondale. So when you talk about the sex trafficking, this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. In the West Valley, we actually have a Southwest Family Advocacy Center where we partner with the city of Buckeye, city of Goodyear, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and we actually have a facility where victims of sex trafficking, they're brought to, and their children, and it's literally a one-stop shop. I would love to have them present to our group at one time, but I welcome anybody that's interested in getting more information. On our website, we provide a lot of information and resources for churches, for our organizations, because you said it perfect, Pastor. It's about awareness, it's about prevention and resources. And we do offer education, and we're able to do it via Zoom for churches or groups that would like to participate in any classes, and we also can do them in person. So maybe I can share that information with Kelly and get that out to the group.
Fantastic. We just want to, rally. There's so many organizations that are, and we need more, right? It's, I believe we need to, we got a lot of churches out there, but I believe we still need more. But, with the organizations fighting against this, we need to, it's a moment where I feel like we can say, we see you, we support you as well. And I mean, we can unify, and that's the big thing here, that if we all come together. I recently spoke at the Basha High School. Did their chapel service, and before they beat Chandler for the first time ever, which funny history, I spoke to Chandler's football team the first time they ever beat Hamilton. So
you're 2 for 2, Pastor.
2 for 2. So if you want your team to win the big game, just invite me over. But the American it's the American Hungarian horse has the power to pull 8,000 pounds, and if you take 2 American Hungarian horses pulling together, they don't just pull 16,000 pounds. They will actually be able to pull 24,000 pounds. And then when you get 2 American Hungarian horses that have walked together, know each other, they together can pull 32,000 pounds. And so I guess my point is this: if we come together, organizations and churches and people, and pull together, man, there's nothing we can't accomplish, right? I mean, we can put this evil, this darkness, and shine the light and expose it, drive it out forever, and so that's what I'm audacious enough to believe, that we can get this driven out.
Well, Pastor, that's a powerful way to sort of end this discussion. I couldn't agree with you more. Unless there's any pressing questions from the group. Okay. Well, we're grateful for the share, Pastor, and I think we're energized to support this cause, and I'll work with Kelly as well as everyone else to make sure that everything, all the information gets out to the teams, and they'll share with their respective cities. So thank you very much, Pastor. You're welcome to stay on and listen to the remainder. Yes, sir.
Anybody here that would like to come to the event, and you are serving and council, we'd love to be able to give special seating and invite to the VIP reception. So if you could maybe pass that on to Kelly. I'm throwing a bunch to you, so I don't know if that's possible. We'd love to be able to take care of you and honor you that night.
Okay. Thank you again, Pastor.
Thank
We're
you.
grateful. Thanks for this. All right. Okay. So great presentation, and it's so important. But that takes us to the next part of our agenda, which is our request for future agenda items. I think I might have heard one from Councilmember Condi about a future item. So maybe we'll lead with that and continue with the rest of the group.
Sure. I would definitely like to see if we can get, so it's the Southwest Family Advocacy Center. So it's here in the West Valley, but Pastor said it right on. It's something that people aren't talking about, and we've really got to bring awareness, especially here in the West Valley where we're growing, Goodyear, Buckeye. And so we really want to expose what's happening and just bring awareness, but also prevention and resources. So I would love to see if we can get the Southwest Family Advocacy Center, the director, her name is Reem George, to come and do a presentation to the group.
That'd be fantastic. Anything else from the floor? Any other ideas or future agenda items we'd like to see?
This is Vice Chair Duff. As we go into a new year with a new governor, I know there's an emphasis on affordable housing and what measures we'll be taking in the new administration to help the cities and the county be able to address this more aggressively. I'm interested in that, as well as I know a number of cities are now doing their own housing trust funds. I know Tempe has one, and I'm advocating for Mesa to have one. I don't know if other cities do, but I'm interested in what kind of models that you do, how you create the funding through offset of permits or the fees, or how they're put together, our best practices model, and so we can be robust not only locally and but joining together in new efforts at the state level, so we can make some headway. Especially housing is slowing down as far as development right now. It might be an opportune time to make some strides in developing or building or retrofitting some affordable housing, and take advantage of a little bit of a slowdown. Thank you.
That's great. That's a great idea.
Mr. Chair,
Councilmember Dorsey.
in addition to Councilmember Duff's comment, I would say also it would be helpful as we move into the next legislative session to have somebody present to us about what changes in the law would be helpful to moving affordable housing projects forward. What are the impediments in the law that need to be addressed so that we can be aware of that going into the next session?
This is Councilwoman.
Oh, excuse me, just one second, Councilmember Janet. Councilmember Dorsey, we would be more than happy to find a speaker to talk on that. What I will try to carefully say is that I think depending on the speaker, that speaker and that organization the speaker works for will have different ideas of what impediments are. So we may invite more than one to give you varying ideas because it is affordable housing is such a hot political topic in our state.
It certainly is, and maybe we can certainly put something on the radar as it relates to getting some more education about it. If we can find some agnostic way to sort of just say, here are the challenges that we're seeing. What's the real story out there instead of the hyperbole about what's causing it. I know that there's a number of groups that are laying the blame at the feet of our councils, right? Saying it's our fault for trying to stick to our zoning plans that have been in place for decades. And I know there's other folks that say it's because of supply chain, et cetera. I'd love to find out, along with in dovetailing what Councilman Dorsey said, what's the real culprit here, and then where are we finding some successes in the marketplace for which for improving. So I hope I didn't step on what you were trying to ask for there, Councilmember Dorsey. I just wanted to reiterate it's super important.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking for ammo to point fingers at people. I think underlying all of the challenges that are out there to getting affordable housing in adequate supply, if you dig deep enough, you're going to find that there's something in the law that is getting in the way. And so I think for us as public officials to be aware of those things and to be especially versed on that as we're talking to legislators and other people that are in a position to change those laws, then I think that's really important for us.
Certainly. Good recommendation. Thank you.
It's Councilwoman Janik. May I speak?
Councilwoman Janik, please. Thank you.
Yeah, this is in regard to what Councilwoman Duff said. I just went to a presentation by Gorman and Company Affordable Housing yesterday. They really do a good job. They have presence in Tempe, Chandler, Mesa, Phoenix, and they actually take the whole design process, the funding process for affordable housing, and work it from the beginning to the end. They're open to all different types of affordable housing, all kinds of different ways to accomplish it. And it might be advantageous to hear what they have to say because they've been around since 1984 and they're very highly regarded and quite successful.
Well, it's good feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else from the floor? I think that gives us quite a few subjects for the next meeting. When is our point in time count, Ms. Williams?
Chair, the point in time count is happening on January 24th. We are always looking for volunteers. I can send you the MAG website. Each city has their own coordinator for the point in time count.
Okay. All right. So we may be able to get a report on that by the time of our next meeting, I think. So are there any, so we're going to close out requests for future agenda items and move on to comments for the committee. So is there any pressing issues or anything that anybody would like to communicate to the group? Any events that are coming up that you want us to know about or share? Okay.
Chair, I have one if you don't mind.
Sure.
Our regional domestic violence council has recently created a work group specifically to address teen dating violence, both teenagers who are victims of teen violence and also perpetrators, and how to identify those behaviors either or, and how to provide resources to both groups. We are partnering with the organization Bloom 365 in the month of February. February is National Teen Dating Violence Prevention Awareness Month. And we will be hosting 6 webinars specifically for youth, parents, and individuals who work with youth to be able to better address this serious topic. We will be sure to share those dates with you all and would really encourage, if not your participation, getting the word out within your social networks and at your cities to help encourage us for this to be a great success.
Fantastic. Great ad. Thank you. Okay, not hearing any comments from the committee. A great meeting today, and thank you for your time, everyone. I'll take a motion for adjournment if you don't have anything else, Kelly. Okay,
Not sure. Thank you.
all right. So nothing else. Motion for adjournment from the floor.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Councilwoman, and we've got a second from Jennifer. We've got a motion from Council Member Condi and a second from Vice Chair Duff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's
Aye.
adjourned. Meeting's adjourned. Have a great Christmas, Hanukkah, just overall happy holidays, and thanks for being a part of this.
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
holidays, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it.